Welcome to Grapple FK, everyone. We are covering Anthony Pettis against Alex Morono. Just before we get into that, I just want to say I just want to give a special message out to our fans. Thank you for watching this year. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays. Take some time for yourselves. It's been a shit year for everyone, but on the plus side, there's been some very good fights, and the UFC has done well. I've started receiving my Christmas gifts. I got a Secret Santa today. Not particularly happy with it, but let's just hope it gets better from here. Andrew, have you received anything yet?
I've received nothing yet. This is because we don't do Secret Santa at my office, because we're located in different parts of the world. And nobody loves me. You haven't sent me a gift, and that's it. What can I say?
How do you know I haven't sent you a gift?
Well, maybe it's in the post.
Maybe it's in the post, fam. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we hope everyone's enjoying their Christmas, or the lead up to Christmas. I've got my small Santa hat on. Andrew loves Christmas as well. He's had a few Christmas cocktails today. I think he's continuing to have one right now, by the looks of it. Or is that something else?
No, this is the Milano Torino Campari plus a Cocchi Storico Vermouth. It's probably the best cocktail in the world. Highly recommended.
There you go. Moving on to Pettis against Morono. This is at welterweight. Both coming off a win, but Pettis' win against Cowboy was a close fight. And Morono who did he beat? He beat the fella from Northern Ireland.
Rhys McKee,
yeah. And so what are you thinking about this? Because Pettis is pretty old now in fight years, isn't he?
Waleed, I was thinking this is similar to the Jose Aldo versus Marlon Vera fight. You've got an old former champion, bit of a legend, obviously not as much as Jose Aldo, but former champion who's peaked and is not quite the same as he was, and the MMA evolution has passed him by somewhat. And you've got him against relative up-and-comer in Alex Morono. And they seem to be sort of two kind of different levels, except with this fight against Pettis versus Morono, it's unclear just as to which level they're really on. Because if you look at Pettis' record, he's fought a lot of guys recently, a lot of top guys, like the very top guys. And in nearly all of those fights, he's fallen short. So it's difficult to know. Is he at that level? Probably not. But is he at that kind of next level down that Alex Morono is in? So it's difficult to gauge what kind of level these guys are really at because they fought such completely different competition. One thing I will say about Pettis is that, to me, yes, okay, he's got power. He's got interesting kicks. He'll do interesting things like he'll feint the kick and then throw a punch.
Yeah.
But when you look at his game, I'm not seeing a whole lot there. I'm not seeing great boxing. I'm not seeing amazing kicks. I'm not seeing great takedowns. I'm not seeing a great ground game. And I'm just unsure in 2020 what his differentiator is that can win him fights. And something that's very strange, I think Anthony Pettis, he trains under Duke Rufus, who's supposedly a legendary striking coach. His striking just isn't there. And one thing he does all the time, which is very strange, is that he allows himself to be backed up all the time. Yeah. He's always on the outside. He's skipping around on his back foot. He gets pushed against the cage. He's always in defensive mode on the back foot. And you're never going to win a fight if you're on the back foot. And he does this.
Strange, like that Superman punch against Stephen Thompson, but how many times is that going to work?
Exactly. And as we said in the previous podcast, that was a Hail Mary. Yeah, to his credit, he did it. He pulled it off.
He did it, yeah.
He knows how to throw a really good Superman punch, but he was getting battered before he threw that punch.
Invented the Showtime, obviously.
That was amazing.
That was back in his peak days, obviously.
Yeah. So, just to recap, I mean, he allows himself to be pressured too much. I think if Pettis just stood where he is and just stand and bangs, he would have a lot more success. But yeah, just to recap those comments, I think MMA has evolved and left him behind.
Yeah, he said something interesting on. I didn't catch it fully. I'm not sure if you have, but he said something probably on Ariel Helwani's show or someone else's shows about over the last few years he's been kind of abusing his body and not training properly and so on. But he's taking this fight a lot more seriously. But I mean, it's something that fighters kind of say during every fight. Not all the time, but it just sounds quite generic in a way.
What do you mean abusing his body, training too hard?
I don't know. I quickly caught it. It was something to do with he was drinking between camps and just not taking things seriously, being a bit childish. But I mean, I don't know how much to read into that, right? Because he could just be saying that. I don't know.
Well, if he's drinking between camps, I mean, it depends what he means by drinking.
Yeah, maybe we should Google this.
Yeah, I mean, if he means like a few drinks on a Friday and Saturday night, that's one thing. If he's drinking every day, that's a problem.
There's something like that. Something pretty big. I remember reading an article about it and also seeing it on, I think it may have been Ariel Helwani's podcast. But yeah, I agree with you. I think, another thing I think about him, in addition to, his success, I mean, his lack of success over his last 4 or 5 fights is he's obviously on the smaller side for welterweight, which is a problem.
Yeah. I think he would benefit from the 165 division.
Yeah, he's a fight exactly. He's a fighter that would benefit for yeah, definitely. He's
equally. Alex Morono is an undersized welterweight as well.
Yeah, still bigger than Pettis, though, I think.
Slightly shorter, maybe thicker, slightly.
Yeah, no, Morono's slightly taller, and thicker, I'd say.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at the reach. Yeah, he is slightly taller. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'd say he's definitely a bit thicker. But yeah, I mean, let's look at Morono. Obviously, he's coming off that win. Before that, he lost to Reese McKee, but then so did Al Hassan. Sorry, he lost to Chaos Williams.
Yeah,
as we said, we don't really know too much about Chaos Williams at the moment. He could go on to be a serious threat. He has knocked 2 people out in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm prepared to put that down to a good punch at the right time, which happens in MMA.
Ridiculous strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his before that he was on a free fight winning streak. So he's had a lot of experience in the UFC.
He's had a lot of experience, but let's just look at these names. Like the best name. Sorry?
Not the same level as.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the best names there are Nico Price and Max Griffin. So he beat Max Griffin fairly decisively, but it was a competitive back and forth. And if you think about the level that Max Griffin is at, Max Griffin is a decent middling level kind of fighter. He's never going to push the top 5. He's never going to challenge for a belt, but he'll dispose of a lot of unranked fighters. And he had a competitive fight with Alex Morono. That kind of tells me perhaps the level that Morono is at.
Yeah. Is Morono ranked, by the way?
I don't even know. I don't think he is.
I don't think he is as well.
Let me get the rankings up for welterweight.
I don't recall seeing his name in the top 15 recently. Well, what happened against Nico Price? Did Price beat him and then get popped for something like he has recently with weed?
To be honest, I don't know. Let me Google that. Morono versus Price.
Kind of assuming that because Price is a bit,
Let's have a look.
There's a no contest overturned punch.
Yeah, so Nico Price won that.
and then you probably got popped for.
Yeah.
It was weed. That's not a good sign.
So Price is alleged to have failed a drug test. The substance apparently is unknown.
Oh, it's unknown.
Price failed a drug test. I mean, so Price is a decent fighter. He's a decent top 10 fighter.
Yeah.
But Price, Max Griffin, I feel like that's probably where Morono is at in terms of that level.
Yeah.
The other guys he's faced are not big names at all. Your average fan is not going to know who these guys are. One thing that I like about Morono is he's got decent boxing, and one thing I really like about him, he's got an excellent parry jab. I don't know if you've seen this. Like, it's probably the core part of his game. So his opponent will go to jab him or throw a punch at him, he'll see it coming, he'll parry it, and then immediately counter with a jab. He does that all the time, and he destroyed Rhys McKee with that. Constant parry jab, and basically blew up Rhys McKee's face doing that. It's an absolutely integral and excellent part of his game.
Yeah, the camera, by the way.
Okay, so give me a
second. His boxing is decent.
Yeah, he's got good countering. He'll mix that up with some wild combinations, which is good. It's just a diverse boxing attack. He's got great front kicks. It's just a lot to deal with.
He's a BJJ black belt, I think.
Is he?
Yeah. I mean, he's only got one UFC sub on his record, but I'm pretty sure he's a black belt.
Yeah, I mean, Max Griffin took him down 4 times in one round, which worries me a bit.
Yeah, his takedown defense is pretty low, 45%, but
that's not really Pettis' kind of thing anyway. Pettis doesn't tend to go for the takedown.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's not really Pettis is pretty good. Pettis has got pretty good BJJ as well off his back.
He's been submitted. I mean, he submitted Michael Chiesa.
Yeah.
I think more often than not, he tends to get what's the word? He tends to get dominated on the ground. I mean, Diego Ferreira, for example, bum raped him.
Yeah, he's a black belt, right?
I mean, Ferreira is a elite level jiu-jitsu guy, so maybe that's not fair. But I see this being a stand-up fight.
Yeah, I think this will be a stand-up fight as well. Yeah, I mean, Morono took Rhys McKee down 3 times, but Rhys McKee's
not... He's from Northern Ireland, right?
Northern Ireland, yeah. British
I mean, we've got the same takedown defense as Rhys McKee.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's what happens when you don't wrestle from early childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's very, very similar to just the other fight we covered that we were both confused about, Vera and Aldo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that question of identifying the respective levels because they fought completely different competition. So we know that Pettis has peaked. We know that when he faces the top guys like Ferguson, like even Nate Diaz, who else has he fought recently?
I'd say Nate Diaz. He probably shouldn't be in the top 15 anymore.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Although perhaps I think he hurt his foot in the first round against Nate Diaz, so maybe that's not a good example.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I think he did. Yeah.
But for example, that fight you mentioned against Cowboy, that was a very close fight, and I feel like people should be probably beating Cowboy at this point.
Yeah, quite. Not easily, but they should be dominating Cowboy now. He's way past it, right?
So I kind of feel like we know Pettis' level. He's topped out for sure. He's not getting any better. The question is, how good is Morono?
Yeah, I mean, Pettis is still young, right? And he hasn't been KO'd since Tony Ferguson back in October 2018. I can't remember that fight, but the first round, from what I do remember, the first round was okay for Pettis, and then Tony just turned it on and took over.
Tony dominated for most of the fight. There was a moment where Pettis dropped Ferguson. And there was this famous kind of highlight where Pettis is doing the ground and pound. His face is covered in blood. He's like screaming like this.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was going to finish Ferguson. But then Ferguson, being Ferguson, turned it around and won the fight. So he definitely had his moments, but I think those moments that he has in those fights are from his power. It's not a whole lot of technique. It's just that powerful right hand. So can you scroll down just so we can see who else he's fought recently? So he beat Michael Chiesa. That's a good win.
That's a very good win, yeah. Particularly if you're submitting him.
Yeah, Jim Miller.
That was a long time ago as well, 2017. Before that, got KO'd by Max Holloway. He's beaten Charles Oliveira again by guillotine, but 4 years ago. That's a good win.
That was before Oliveira started his big long winning streak.
Yeah, he is good off his back though. Pettis, his BJJ is pretty good off his back.
But it's difficult to know. If you look at all these names, it's Holloway, it's Barboza, it's Alvarez.
These are big names, dude. Like RDA fucking 5 years ago.
So this is.
He's beat Donald Cerrone. He beat back in 2013. I mean, that's going back a long time, but
this is the best of the best he's losing to.
Exactly. Yeah, he's losing to the best of the best. Exactly. Dustin Poirier, another, elite fight.
So this is what makes it difficult, because if you look crap against the world's best, you don't know how good that person is relative to, say, the rest of the division.
Yeah, exactly. And he's facing someone who's not in the top 15 now. So this is these guys are a few levels higher than Morono, easily. Obviously, they're the best. So
yeah, for sure.
That's why it's a difficult one. This.
But that said, you can't, regardless of whether the competition is elite, the fact is he's still allowing himself to be backed up all the time. He's not throwing combinations. He's not doing anything that will win you the fight.
Kind of wilting on the pressure in some cases, allowing the fight to be taken over. Wasn't the case back in the day with him. But yeah, he's had a lot of fights, dude. 33 fights, that's a lot.
It is.
So, 33 fights when you're fighting the world's best, that's not fucking easy. So, should we get on to predictions? This is a tough one.
Oh, fuck me, man.
This is a really tough one. Again, I've said this a lot this week. I think the betting line will probably sway my judgment on this a bit more.
Same here.
I'm kind of leaning more towards Pettis just because the level of competition he's faced has just been, it's just substantially higher. And I don't think Morono can finish him.
Has Pettis been knocked out many times?
Not really. Last time he got knocked out was TKO'd was Tony Ferguson. And that was Tony Ferguson 2018 and then Dustin Poirier in 2017. But the two elite fighters, right?
Yeah.
And before that, Max Holloway.
So you're thinking Pettis?
Kind of leaning more towards Pettis. But, it's close, like 55-45.
How does Pettis get it done?
I think probably a decision.
What's Pettis's striking differential?
It's negative.
Yeah. What's Morono's striking differential?
Morono's is, it's pretty positive, actually. He throws a lot of output.
Yeah, he does. Morono throws a lot. He's very
Yeah.
active, which is a double-edged sword because I've got this in my notes somewhere. So in that first fight, in that fight against Reese McKee, he landed 55 significant strikes in the first round alone.
Yeah. Well, he threw 176
I mean
overall. That's a lot.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
In
a
a
lot.
3-round fight, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. That is a lot.
I mean, against Song Keenan 98, Max Griffin he threw 81. These are big numbers.
Yeah.
So bear in mind, Pettis is not going to throw that kind of volume.
No, no, he won't. But yeah, I don't know. The competition here is just a lot lower, right?
Yeah.
And Reese McKee was just there to be hit. He wasn't really throwing much back. He was in the first round, I think, to an extent. But Reese McKee's not really that good. Let's be honest. If we're being completely honest, he's not that good.
He's very young, inexperienced.
He's
Yeah.
young, you know. He's coming to the UFC. He got crushed by Kamzat, and
He's had a rough couple of first fights.
he has, yeah. It's been unlucky with his first fight.
Yeah,
Very unlucky.
definitely.
Well, Kamzat, they probably just no, yeah, no, it's rough because they would have seen the. This is kind of diverging, but they would have seen the Phillips fight. But I mean, you know, if you're getting if you're getting a contract from the UFC and they're saying 4 fights, you've got Kamzat, you have to take it, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You've got no.
Yeah, you don't turn down fights when you're like 22,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and this is your second fight in the UFC. Yeah,
And if you do turn it down, Dana White will fucking remember that.
yeah, he's not going to forget.
White, yeah, yeah. That's it. You're barred. You're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, in terms of my prediction, I think volume is a key part here. As in, Morono's going to throw it, and Pettis isn't. Pettis has the power advantage, I think, but Alex Morono has power, maybe not to the same extent. Alex Morono is going to come forward and pressure, I think. And Morono is good going forward and backwards. I think this could be just a lot of back and forth. Potentially quite a boring fight, but with Morono landing more. And then Pettis ending up in the 3rd round thinking, oh, well, what happened? And he hasn't thrown enough, he hasn't done enough, and he's been on the back foot. And that's how he loses the fight. Okay. Or Pettis knocks him out, or is completely different, and the skill level is just so completely different. And Pettis puts on an absolute clinic against Morono because Pettis has fought against the world's best and Morono just hasn't.
Yeah, I think I personally think it's the last one you said. I don't think it'll be a complete clinic, but I think Pettis will have enough knowledge of the game to get past Morono with a decision. But you know, I'm 55% on Pettis in this. This is a tough one, and I'm assuming they're even in terms of odds.
Well, let's have a look. So this annoys me. This is a game of missing information, and this annoys me. So, okay, so you think Pettis is the favorite?
Maybe slight, very, very slight favorite, possibly.
Okay. So I will tell you that Pettis is the favorite. What kind of odds do you think he's got?
I don't know, like -100 maybe?
-225.
-225. Whoa, I wouldn't be.
It's a little steep, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite, yeah.
So I'm thinking there's value on Morono.
There is value in Morono, definitely value in Morono.
So let's look at the odds for Morono. Morono is +175.
Yeah.
definite value there for me, I think.
Yeah, there is.
Um,
I didn't think Pettis would be that much of a favourite, but yeah,
yeah.
it's just a strange one. Yeah, I've got him. I think Pettis, but yeah, 55. But I don't think -225. That's what that implies, that he wins what 70% of the time, approx.
Let's have a look. Yeah, 69.2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think it's closer than that.
I think this could go either way. I think this is 50-50.
Yeah. 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 Morono's a decent fighter.
Let me ask you a question. Could Morono beat Cowboy?
I mean, MMA math doesn't really work, but that I'll answer that. Cowboy today?
Cowboy
Probably.
a year ago. Cowboy a year ago.
Cowboy a year ago. It's the same Cowboy pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be a close fight. Possibly. Yeah.
Mm.
Cowboy shouldn't be where he is. I mean, he's a legend and stuff, but he shouldn't be whatever number he is. He's pretty high up.
So I know MMA math doesn't work, but
yeah, there are a lot of guys who can fuck him up outside of top 15 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know MMA math doesn't work, but Pettis had a difficult time with Cowboy.
Yeah, very close. Very close.
If we think Morono could beat Cowboy.
Yeah. Possibly. But then maybe, Cowboy problem. Yeah, that's another 50-50 fight. Cowboy's a weird one because he'll just come back sometimes and he'll put on a decent performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sticking to Pettis. I think 55-45 Pettis. I think just purely based on experience. I think you can get a decision here, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Morono wins a unanimous decision or a split decision. I don't think he can finish. I don't think there'll be a finish in this fight.
For me, it's probably 55-45 the other way, Morono.
The other way. And what are you thinking? Unanimous decision?
Probably yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I don't see Morono knocking Pettis out necessarily.
Yeah, same.
I can just see Morono throwing more volume, Pettis circling around the edge of the octagon, and you just don't win fights like that. And I think, but Pettis could just lose this fight himself.
Yeah.
Just with the wrong approach,
It's definitely a factor. Yeah, well, anyway, official predictions I've got. And I'm not saying this confidently, but I think Pettis will win this with a decision. Via decision, sorry. And Andrew?
Also not confidently, but Morono by decision. 55-45. But
and in terms of betting, there's quite a lot of value in Morono here.
Yeah, you can't bet on Pettis, I don't think.
Yeah.
You can't bet on him. I like Morono not for a come. An individual bet, I think, makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if we're saying the implied odds, the odds are what? What odds did I say for Morono?
6. What? So 31.8% that he loses.
Yeah, so the implied probability of Morono winning is 36.4. If we think he wins, let's say even 50% or 45% of the time, there's value on that.
So, there's value on him. But yeah, there you go. This is a tough one to call, but yeah, there you go. There you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. I think the event's starting very late tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, what time? Is it like really, really late?
It'll probably be like starting like I don't know 11:30 p.m. UK time or something.
Oh, sucks, man. That sucks.
Very good flight.
Fam, I'm moving to fucking America just to watch the
Yeah,
fucking
we need to
UFC.
America, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking good.
Apparently, the US is going to open up soon. I read an article in the Telegraph today saying that the US could let the UK in pretty soon,
Oh, really?
like in a week.
Really?
So Andrew's fucking off to America,
Do it, fam.
fucking
But
doing it, fucking doing it.
quickly, you any thoughts on any other of the other fights in the card? Because we have had some queries on YouTube.
Well, Baba Yaga was talking about Hardy versus Tibura. I haven't
Yeah,
looked into that.
I did look into it. Tabora is a decent grappler, which is worrying for Hardy because I think he could just grind out a decision by holding on to him, and Hardy does get tired.
Yeah, didn't Hardy go 5 rounds with Volkov though?
Yeah, he did, but that was mainly striking, right?
Yeah, which is easier than grappling.
Yeah, yeah. But
The things with Tibura, it's the same problem with the Jose Aldo Vera fight. The same problem with this fight we're talking about now. You've got the more established fighter with a decent record who's
yeah,
definitely hit his level versus the upcoming fighter, and we don't know his level yet because he hasn't. Well, we
yeah,
kind of know his level because he lost to Volkov, but there's a lot more way to go with Greg Hardy.
yeah.
So it's a similar kind of problem. Instinctively, I'm drawn to Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy is bigger as well.
Baba Yaga was saying that Tabura's cardio sucks, which I'd need to look into.
Tabora is he gets better. They both have terrible. They both have bad cardio. I think. I mean, Greg Hardy's last win against whoever he put away, he was fucking panting heavily after that, and I think that was in the first or the second round.
Can we look at Hardy's record?
Yeah. Can't remember who he fought last time out. Finished someone. Oh yeah, Maurice Green.
Maurice
Yeah,
Green.
yeah. Round two. I mean, he looked really tired after that finish. And then before that, he got a unanimous decision win against Jorgen de Castro. Not a bad win. Marcin beat Ben Rothwell, unanimous decision. Beat Maxim Grishin, unanimous decision. Maxim Grishin is a light heavyweight. Beat Sergey Spivak, unanimous decision. I mean, this is what he does. He kind of like holds on to you and just, drags the fight out.
This is a fairly good record. If you're beating Ben Rothwell, if you're beating Spivak,
yeah, beat Stefan Struve the same way as well. But he's been knocked out before, which is obviously always the problem at heavyweight. Greg Hardy does have the power to knock people out, but I just think in terms of grappling, Tibura is just going to shoot early and just hold on to him, tire him out, and get a boring unanimous decision win, which he's been doing a lot lately.
Has Hardy been taken down before?
Yeah, definitely. Pretty sure he has. Although his takedown defense is quite high.
So who's taken it? He hasn't.
Alan Crowder.
Oh, Alan Crowder.
Yeah. Austin Lane took him down. No, that's the only guy that's taken him down, Alan Crowder. But also, he hasn't really fought many wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Volkov, who's Russian, which suggests wrestler, is not a wrestler.
He's a Cobra Kai karate guy.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas
again,
this is up in the air as well. But Tabora's very experienced and he's a decent grappler, so I think he could give Hardy some serious some problems.
Yeah, again, there's missing information here.
There is missing information, and what we should also say, we've probably said it to Baba Yaga before as well, is that we tend to stay away from heavyweight fights in terms of betting, like just because you don't really know. Like, I mean, Marcin could go in there and drag this one out, get a unanimous decision, or Hardy could knock him out in round one. You know, it's just
yeah,
fuck knows.
Hardy's got potential though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, for someone who started MMA late.
Yeah, I mean, he survived 3 rounds with Volkov, which is a big deal.
Yeah,
he's got that wife beater rage, which is always helpful.
Dead in the eyes.
Exactly. Probably a psychopath.
Yeah, well, probably.
Which always helps if you're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprised he hasn't what?
I'm surprised he hasn't killed anyone yet.
He may do. He may do.
At some point. What about Michelle Pereira? Just quickly, Michelle Pereira and Chaos Williams weigh-in was very interesting. Pereira did some kind of backflip, and then really squared up to Chaos Williams, got in his face.
How was the size difference?
Pereira's fucking massive, man. I don't know how he makes that weight. He's just huge, pure muscle.
Much bigger than Chaos Williams.
Yeah. Much bigger. Taller as well. By 2 centimeters. He's huge. He's a huge man. But yeah, again, you know, missing information. Chaos Williams, yes, spectacular power, but we haven't really seen him go past 30 seconds in the UFC.
Well, I told you that this guy annoys me because we researched one of his fights before. I researched all of his previous non-UFC fights, and he looked fucking terrible. And he comes out.
But he had power then as well. Like, his power's just not suddenly appeared.
Yeah, but his technique was just this. He was like doing front crawl, right?
Yeah.
And then he just starches Abdul Al-Rakat Hassan.
And Morono.
And Morono.
Yeah.
So, again, he's definitely got something about him.
The Morono one was that was a wild kind of finish, but the Al Hassan one was, we discussed this, was a nice, very straight punch to the
straight
face.
Right hand, yeah.
Straight right hand.
Cross, yeah.
And he was down for a long fucking time.
Yeah. So
he picked up mid, like in the air, basically.
He did. He really did, yeah. That's serious power.
Serious power, yeah.
But Michelle Pereira is a big step up.
Yeah,
Michelle Pereira is really good.
He's always moving.
I think you can't not bet on Pereira here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Pereira is definitely the favorite in this because just he's substantially more experienced. 24-11 and 0. Chaos Williams is 11-1. So Pereira's got 3 times his experience.
Well, 24-11. That's not the best record. He's lost 11 fights.
Yeah, mainly outside of the UFC. I think his UFC record's not that bad.
Let's have a look. His middle name is Fagner. No comment on that.
Yeah, I've never heard that name before.
Fagner. I'll say that again. His middle name is Fagner. Fagner.
That's a new one.
Fagner.
Brazilians do have some interesting names. So he beat Danny Roberts on his debut. Then he lost to Tristan Connolly, who I've never heard of. Diego Sanchez was a no contest, disqualification, but he was fucking him up.
Yeah.
And then he beat Zalim Emadayev. So, I mean, he's basically 3-1 in the UFC.
I was hoping for a slightly better record than that, to be honest.
4-0? Yeah, he hasn't fought many decent. Danny Roberts is decent. He's not a bad player.
Imadaev is decent. That's a decent
Imadaev,
win.
yeah, he beat the fuck out of him. Beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah. Diego
Chaos,
Sanchez is irrelevant. I mean,
yeah, he's done. It's just got two very quick knockouts, obviously 27 and 30 seconds. So we don't really have much to go on.
I think you've got to go with Pereira here.
Yeah,
On
Pereira
the
is he's bigger, takedown defense 100%.
He's going to know the jiu-jitsu, isn't he? He's Brazilian, so.
But I mean, look at this landing per minute against absorbing, mate. 15.79 against 3.16. You want a positive differential, mate? There you go.
Yeah, but he's fought for a total of 57 seconds. So.
He hasn't even got a minute in the octagon, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. There's some odd fights to predict on this card. And to be honest, for everyone watching back home, we've had a busy 2 weeks, so I haven't looked into any of the other fights in great detail. But the ones we've covered in this and the ones we've covered yesterday and the day before are ones we're relatively sure about, I guess. Heavyweight fights, as I mentioned, we tend to stay away from in terms of betting. But I myself personally, I'm leaning slightly more towards Marcin in this one. Andrew, you said Hardy, but again, we haven't really analysed this. Yeah.
I can't really say anything about that fight, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, going back to what we were originally discussing, I've got Pettis 55-45, and Schooler's got Morono 55-45. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the fights tomorrow, and we'll put some videos out. I know there's no cards coming up. We'll put some videos out about MMA and so on. Some interesting stuff going on.
Well, we can get back to the normal podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
where we just chat shit about things and
chat shit about MMA and life, mate.
Yeah.
There's some interesting cards coming up in Jan. Yeah, we'll put some content out there, and yeah, hope everyone enjoys the holidays. Take care, watch the fights, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.